Hey, what is going on, everybody? I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com, and this is the HTC Hero for Sprint. I'll tell you straight off, right off the bat, this is the best Android phone that I've ever tested, the best Android phone on the market right now, I think, anyway. And for me personally, right now it would be my pick as my phone of choice on Sprint. I think I like it a little better than the Pre. That doesn't mean you will, but I do. Why? Well, let's find out right now. Alright, so here you go, the HTC Hero for Sprint. This is the first version of the Hero to launch on a US carrier, the first CDMA version. Next to it right here, there it is. What's up, dude? Oh, how you doing? It's the GSM version. This is the unlocked European version of the Hero, which launched a few months ago. We've done a lot of coverage on this phone already. Our own John Walton headed over to London for the launch of the Hero. You might know him as Phone Dog John. You might know him as Android John or Droid Dog John. He's now the managing editor of DroidDog.com. He's still with Phone Dog, don't worry. But he's taken his labor of love, his huge interest and expertise in Android, and spinning it out into a dedicated site, DroidDog.com. Check it out, because he can go a little more in depth with Android-only stuff than we can do on the Phone Dog site, so definitely check that out. Anyway, so he went over to London for the launch of the Hero, and we've done a lot of coverage, both he and I, on the unlocked Hero, a couple dogfights with iPhone 3GS and Palm Pre and stuff. So I'm not going to go too in-depth as far as what the Hero can and can't do and the HTC Sense UI, because there's all kinds of coverage, written and video, on Phone Dog and Droid Dog, if you want to know more about, the HTC Sense software itself, which is basically, it's kind of like what they did with Windows Mobile with TouchFlow 3D. It's not only a collection of widgets and a layer of user interface and that kind of stuff that adds functionality to the device, but it also goes deeper than that. They replaced a lot of the core applications in the stock Android install with HTC specific versions, like the People app, which digs deeper, connects you up to your social networking contacts, your Facebook friends, your Flickr stuff, all that kind of thing. So you can see here my entry from my friend Albert Lee. It's got the little Facebook logo there, and that's his Facebook status picture and his Facebook status message right there. So pretty cool stuff. Look at updates and events for friends of yours who are on Facebook. So there you go, some of my Facebook friends. Oh, there's some birthdays coming up. Happy birthday, David. Happy almost birthday, Justin. Happy birthday, almost, John Carl. And some updates from people as well. And these, you don't have to use these, but they do show up if you link your contacts to Facebook friends. So pretty cool. Some interesting stuff that HTC has done. Physically, the difference between the Sprint Hero and the unlocked Hero, the big difference is Sprint is rounded and chinless, whereas the original version has more of an angular look, and then it's also the corners are more squared off. The whole body is more of a rectangle with rounded corners here on the Sprint version. And then you've obviously got the chin on the bottom of the phone that angles up kind of towards your mouth when you're talking about it. The Sprint version, rounded over. The keys, instead of being the individual buttons on the original version, got two individual buttons, but the others is sort of it's kind of like this panel, and then underneath it there's it's a little raised up. There are actual buttons under there, not touch sensitive, but actual buttons that you click. The trackball is also larger on the Sprint version. You can see if I hold it, this is the Sprint version. It's both bigger it's bigger in diameter, and so that affects not only how tall and wide the trackball is, but also how far up it comes. It protrudes from the surface of the phone. A little bit easier to use, it's just a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to use. I don't know, the styling, some people, really didn't like the styling change from the original to the Sprint version. I just think it looks different. I think it looks fine. I might prefer the chin a little bit if I got the choice, but I don't think the Sprint version is that bad. And it actually feels a little bit better in the hand. If you hold your phone like I do, you don't get the corner kind of jutting into your palm there like you do on the original version. The Sprint one rounded off in the corners, a little bit more comfortable to hold. Not a big deal, but something, going for the Sprint version. Here's the back panels. You know, again, a little more, it's a lighter gray, a little more kind of metallic, maybe a little more buttoned up looking as opposed to future looking, but whatever. I think the Sprint version looks fine. A little bit thicker because it is a CDMA phone instead of a GSM phone, and that's just kind of how it goes. Oops, I didn't close my GSM version there. You get the same 5 megapixel camera. You get the same 3.5mm headphone jack. You get the same USB port on the bottom. Rocker switch on the left side to control your volume. Nothing on the right side. And then again, the 6 buttons and the trackball on the front. Performance on the phone has generally been very good. Been testing it out here in the San Francisco Bay Area, mainly in the East Bay. I've had it for a little less than a week now. You may have seen the video. My first review loaner that came was destroyed. Apparently, somewhere in the shipping process, the screen was destroyed. So the PR folks were kind enough to send me a new one out right away. Sent the destroyed one back to them. And so I've had this phone now for, I guess, 5 days. So 5 days isn't enough, you know, to say how it's gonna work out long term over the life of the phone. But I've been testing it. Call quality is great. Sprint's network, you know, is pretty strong. Right now, where I'm recording, none of the in the office here, none of the networks get super great signal strength. But I've got Evdu, I've got a couple of bars, and using it out and about, Sprint signal is pretty good here. And when I do have a strong signal, voice quality is good. Data speeds are zippy. No complaints there. The Wi-Fi signal strength is good, built-in Wi-Fi as well. It's CDMA, so you can't do voice and data at the same time unless your data's over Wi-Fi. You can't do cellular data while you're talking. But that's CDMA, that's not the Hero. One thing to note, the battery life is just barely acceptable. For me, it is acceptable. My standards might not be as high as some people's. For me, if I can get through the day and have to recharge, I'm fine with that because I usually recharge, every night anyway. I have been able to get through the day, during just normal, heavy but normal usage. When I actually tried to pound on the thing, I ran it down. But during heavy but normal usage, I was able to get through the day, but I did get the low battery warning a few times. Comes up faster than in general use of other smartphones. Palm Pre also on Sprint, now that they've worked out those battery issues, iPhone, et cetera, et cetera. So if you do a lot of hammering on the device and you leave your GPS on all day, you may run into some issues. So just to note, for me, the battery is acceptable, but just barely. Otherwise, performance is good. The camera works well. I'll show you, again, you can go back into the other videos and written reviews to see the details of what HTC Sense can do, and then obviously Android underneath it. Sense cannot be turned off. It's not just widgets that can be turned on and off. The individual widgets can be turned off. So here's HTC's Twitter widget, and I can long press on it. Well, I got a long press on the widget, not in the text area. There you go. I can long press on it, and I can remove it. But I can't turn Sense off entirely because Sense goes deeper than just, it's deeper than just skin deep. So I can turn on, I've got these HTC widgets that I can install, and you can see, they have a photo album and their music player and their Gmail app are all better, I think, than the stock Android applications. And then in addition to just, these widgets, they're also applications. You've also got the Android widgets. So you can install all your standard Android stuff on here, your widgets, your applications, all that kind of thing. It's just you can't, turn everything off if you like the hardware but don't like HTC stuff. But HTC stuff's pretty good. So, in addition, you've got a couple of extra Sprint widgets. You've got your Sprint TV and your Sprint Mobile Live. Now, I've already installed these, so let's take a look. Here's the NFL Mobile Live. So here's NFL Mobile Live. It's a widget that'll give you, information. You can set a team to follow. So I followed the Raiders because I'm in Oakland, and you can also, get you your latest news. And then when you tap on it, you can launch the app, and it's kind of a cool little app actually. For football season, you can see how glossy the screen is. The reflection of me in the background there. I got my Knicks sweatshirt on today. But anyway, here's NFL Mobile Live. You got a little ticker on the bottom. You've got the team you're following, their next game, who they're playing, and what the weather conditions are like. Kind of cool. A whole bunch of stuff here. You can tap to get to these, drill down to these different layers of stuff. There's some videos, so we'll go to the, without even tapping, I just tapped because it was video. I think this is Brett Favre beating the Niners, and I'm tired of Brett Favre, so. But we'll see the video quality anyway. So there you go. It's like Sprint TV quality. You know, it's not. You can go full screen there, which isn't gonna make that much of a difference. You know, it's kind of pixelated, and I'm not the biggest proponent of mobile TV just yet. But you know, you can get your video while you're sitting around waiting for something, or you know, if you're a diehard NFL fan and you missed the action and you want to see what happened, you know, I'll have to try this out on a Sunday to see how real time it is. But there you go. So you get your little NFL Mobile Live widget there. And then we'll go back to the home screen, and it works in widescreen mode as well.